You are Matting. Welcome back to another episode of Stoppage Time TV. We're live back in the flesh, live and direct. You already know what time it is. Before we go any further, make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you switch on your notifications. So that's 360 TV on YouTube, Stoppage Time TV on Soundcloud, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You already know what the socials are as well. Make sure you get involved in the conversation. First and foremost, hold tight the 3-point collectors in the web chat. You get me? So hold tight the 3-point collectors.
Come on.
Number 2, hold tight the point collectors. Hold tight the point collectors. So hold tight Fuad. Hold tight the Champions League qualifiers. You get me? Hold tight the Champions League qualifiers. Mm-hmm. And finally, hold tight the man them that are going to Europe, even though they didn't want to go to Europe, innit? Like, you get me? Like, listen, man them have to compete in it. Like, even though man them didn't want to get into Europe, man them are there in it. So what is that? That's Chelsea, Manchester United, Champions League, Spurs Europa League. But boy, Man United have finished third with 66 points, and they've got their goal difference. So, Cam, you're probably going to have to get the ball rolling for us, because halfway through the season, this didn't look like a possibility. It's happened now. You guys are third. You've turned it around. What's the feeling in the Man United camp? What are we saying about Oli? What are we saying about the team? In fact, paint the picture of the whole week, because obviously we had the results that we didn't speak about in the last, because it was during the week. We then had the panic, I guess, from United that, Leicester are going to beat us. And then now we're in a situation where you guys have finished third.
It was just, to be honest, it's good, innit? Like, obviously, at the point of when we got into, so from around January, when it was all gloom and doom and gloom or whatever, it didn't look like that was a possibility. Obviously, we're 14 points behind Leicester, and Chelsea were the ones that were looking like we're going to try and catch, but then Chelsea, anytime Chelsea dropped points, we won't capitalise, so it was just looking like a dead-end type of situation. But obviously, Leicester collapsed massively. Their collapse is ridiculous. Like, as much as United have done well, their collapse is ridiculous. I think they've won 6 of their last 18 or something like that, or something crazy.
Get a shout out now. Don't I get a shout out for that one?
Oh yeah, no, credit for saying that. Credit for that. But then when you look at, what was it? I think it's ever since when they got battered 4-0 from Liverpool. I think that turned their season around. From there, just started collapsing. But whatever. So we didn't look like it was a possibility. So fair play for us actually, achieving it and getting there. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where At the same time, it's one of those situations where I think it's just glossing over. It's glossing over. What's that term? What's that phrase?
Glossing over the cracks.
Glitter over the cracks. Glitter. Haven't you heard that phrase? That glitter over the pool.
I don't do glitter, bro.
There's one that everything that glitters isn't gold. I know that one, but man said glitter over the cracks. You know?
I'm like, whoa! What's this glitter talk? Wait. What's going on here?
Yeah. So it's one of them situations where it's like
the perception, the reality.
I feel like it kind of feels exactly like when we came second under Jose. It's like, yeah, that's good. You're second on paper. It looks great, but in reality, it's just kind of like it's not that impressive to me. It's not that impressive to me because there's still loads of issues that United have. And finishing third is nice because obviously you want to get into the Champions League. But when I look at Man United play and I look at the coaching and look at some of the stuff, it doesn't really fill me with that much confidence. Do you know what I mean? Going forward, to be honest.
What are some of those low points, would you say?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the deficiencies?
I would say it's a coaching issue. There's a personnel issue and there's a coaching issue, right? But a lot of it comes down to the coaching for me. you've got a situation where I've mentioned the only way I think Ole can succeed is if we get him a bunch of top players. But we're not going to get a bunch of top players. We're not going to get a bunch of top
You've
players.
got Champions League
That's the thing.
football now.
Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
And
incentive.
money's never held you lot back.
And you've got money as well.
I don't think we're
And there's
going
no
to. I don't
FFP.
think we're going to spend that much. So, in my opinion, it's just like you're going to be able to get a couple players in. If you can get Sancho in, if you can get Grealish in, that's great. But in terms of what we need, I think for him to succeed even more, to actually do bits, he's going to need even more than that. Because as I said, when you make a little bit of changes, the team collapses. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to look at the table and see third place, and we can be shameless and we can throw all these jokes around and stuff like that. But in reality, bro, we can't take that team into the Champions League. They'll get absolutely waxed to hell. They'll get battered. In reality, if we played a real top team, like Chelsea lost 3-0 to Bayern, got a little reality check. If we played against Bayern, it could be 4-5-0, 6-0. Do you know what I mean? So, in all honesty, like, it's good to see, and I'm happy we could hit that. Like, if Ole at the start of the season had a little target sheet, he's ticked it. Yeah, he's ticked it. But the context of it, mate, 66 points, as you said, 66 points. We, first of all, got 66 points last season. We finished 6th. This season, it got 3rd. So we've had an identical season to a year which Jose got sacked in and stuff like that. Then we've had exactly identical season. And then when you look at it as well, this is our 2nd lowest point tally ever. And we're 33 points off the champions. So yeah, we can be like, oh my God, but is it really progress? It's not really progress because we've had the same amount of points. There is some stuff you can look at. Is we conceded 54 goals last season. This season we conceded 36. Okay, that's good. That's progress, in a way. So there's little things like that, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really see it as much progress.
There's been a lot of individual improvements as well, like with Rashford and Bruno's addition, and because a couple of weeks ago, I mean, most United fans were kind of positive looking forward into next season, kind of going forward. And I hear what you're saying, you kind of need a few additions, but I don't think much has changed, to be honest. Like, I still think you lot, with maybe 2 to 3 signings, I think you lot could still be there as outside title challengers. Like, I know it's kind of gone, but you got to remember as well, it's like before Bruno came and after Bruno came, almost, is how I look at United. It's like before he came, you lot had no creativity in that midfield and it was looking shocking. Now it's like you've kind of got your options to pick from, because Fred has been kind of non-existent in the second half since the restart. It's like Matic all of a sudden has earned a new deal. So there have been improvements, I would say, in individuals, but I don't know. It's kind of like there seems to be such a deflation almost.
You know what's shocking
fans.
about that, what you're saying?
And it's come so quick. That's what I don't get. It, because even similar to the...
It's the honeymoon period, isn't it? Like, you sign a new player, you start getting the most out of your players and whatnot. You come back, you're performing, and then you start hitting the reality. So within our group chat, I remember when certain individual came and was like, oh, why is Bruno playing like this? And I said, why are you surprised? This is who you've signed. If you go and check his track record, he'll have games where he's stinking, but he will affect the game statistically. And Cam, I know you've highlighted it, you spoke about it, but it's something a lot of United fans are realising now, that Bruno can drop 3 4s out of 10s, but he will score the pen or he will score a goal, because that's how he is. And again, when when you have something and it's all shining and whatnot, and you look at deep and you go, hold on, we've got big issues here. United fans are screaming it now about, Oli doesn't make changes, and they realise and they go, actually, no, Oli can't make changes because the guys he's going to bring on can't play that football that his starting 11 plays. And it's like, oh, but Oli can't even coach the people he's bringing on to try and play a different way to get results. So I think when you get the results, you're happy. Then after a while, you start realising, okay, there are some big issues here that we need to address. Because
that's the highs and lows of football for me. And it's like, the prime example of that for me is like Brandon Williams. Like, when he initially came into the team, it was like, we could potentially have a left-back solution. Yeah. And it's like, he's a bright spot coming in. And then all of a sudden, like the last 2-3 weeks, it's been like, he is the issue. And I'm hearing United fans recalling for Luke Shaw to start. And I'm like, it's crazy. So, but that, I will say that is one thing from a tactical aspect. I think United, the last couple of games I've seen, is having Brandon Williams and Rashford on the left, with them both being naturally right-footed. It lacks that kind of natural left side overlap that you always need. And even when Brandon Williams does that, he tends to cut back all the time, which I get is frustrating. But The kid, it's his debut season. I don't know why they're killing him. You said it last week, like it was just that game. But nah, it's been almost every game since.
Shouldn't be a scapegoat. Like,
it doesn't make sense. That's just United fans just trying to find a scapegoat or whatever. But I'm telling you, the big issue is, which I've mentioned to you, man, is when I said to you, no matter who we get, if we get 4 players in this summer, I said the best we can do with Ole is a top 3 little situation. You know what I mean? Try and break the top. But you look at Chelsea moving aggressively, talking about they don't care about top 4, they want to win titles, blah blah blah. It doesn't really sound like that kind of information is coming out of United or coming out of Ole. You know what I mean? It sounds like he's just happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of them situations where I think the limit should never be 3rd. We've just achieved that limit. All right, we've just got 3rd now. So what, next season we're going to sign players just about for 3rd. So that means next season we should really be trying to win titles, right? Exactly. And I just don't think that's going to happen under Ole. So everyone's going to probably be like, I'm being negative and stuff. But I'm just being realistic. When you look at the way Manchester United play, okay, a lot of our players are, you can probably say, fatigue and stuff. But it always still just looks like individual FC. You know what I mean? It still looks like if Martial doesn't just pick up the ball, knock a little 1-2 with Rashford and Rashford buries it or whatever, it's like, where's the pattern of plays? But there is situations where I look at it and it's like, it's a mismatch. It's a mismatch in some of in our squad. So, like Wan-Bissaka, for example, he can't, bro. The guy, I know it's something I come on here talking about Wan-Bissaka all the time, but honestly, bro, like it's a big liability. His technical ability is a massive liability for Man United, and it's going to get exposed even worse in the Champions League. You can't be that bad on a football.
Yeah.
And in the modern day, as a fullback, everyone can be like, oh, bread and butter, or no, defend. But bro, you got to be able to do both. And teams are now, Chelsea exposed it mainly. Everyone knows that Wan-Bissaka is not great on the ball, but Chelsea exposed it the most. And since then, 2 other teams have gone and done it as well. Go pass the ball to Wan-Bissaka. All right, go on and let everything happen with Wan-Bissaka. And imagine doing that. Like, imagine a PSG or something highlighting something like that. Like, Wan-Bissaka is the weak link. Bro, it's peak, fam. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
the last couple of games, that's what it's been. He's allowed to have kind of most of the ball out on his side, kind of let him whip or do whatever he wants with it. And as you said, the lack of end product there. But the thing is, you have spent 50 million on him on just this summer, so he ain't going absolutely nowhere.
Exactly. No, I don't think he needs to get sold or nothing, but there needs to be more flexibility with Ole in certain times, in certain games. There needs to be a time where he's like, you know what, this person, but that's why I don't understand why he's trying to get rid of Dalot. But look, in the grand scheme
I was just about to say, Dalot is the complete opposite in the sense of he can't defend, but going forward, he's brilliant. And some games, it should be Dalot. And even so, like I've said, Brandon Williams naturally right-footed. Why can't he play at right back?
Exactly. Listen, we're Manchester United, yeah? At the end of the day, I would rather a fullback at Manchester United that can attack better than he can defend, personally. Because we're always going to more time be on the front foot. Kyle Walker, we should be. Kyle Walker, Trent, as much as man you might say us going back, how often do you get to see how sus they are going back? Not that much, because more time their teams are doing bits. Yeah, and more time they're heavily involved in the offensive play. No one can be perfect. That's understandable. I mean, no one can be perfect, but at Man United, we should always be a team that's on the front foot. So that's why I'd rather someone a bit more offensive. But I'm not trying to say that's the biggest issue. The issue, or as I said, we've ticked a box, which is great. I'm happy about getting into the Champions League, but it makes me still worrying times ahead. Like, I hope United fans don't think the job is done or anything like that.
I see similarities with your situation in Chelsea in the sense that big teams, right, or fans of big teams, when you're not where you want to be, even if you achieve an objective, in your head, it's like, we're supposed to be at the top. We have to be realistic. Man City and Liverpool are the 2 biggest teams in the country.
Yeah.
Man City can cash power their way to stuff. Liverpool have built something. But Chelsea and United, naturally, no matter what the circumstances, are going to say, listen, we should be there. So to finish 3rd and 4th respectively on the same amount of points, when you look at it, it's kind of like, 1, it should be a bit closer. 2, this is probably where we should be finishing because we're not as good as other teams, but we should be getting closer. with Manchester United, what you have is you have a situation where the fans are celebrating this sort of momentous thing happening. And it's like, oh my God, Champions League and everything. But you've got people that are being more realistic about it and saying, well, listen, if we don't change anything, we're going to keep battling. We're not going to get back to where we need to be. Whereas Chelsea, on the other hand, like the reaction I saw from the players was objective achieved. It wasn't like, oh my God, Champions League. It was like, okay, we've just...
But I think that's because you lot still have the FA Cup still in there as well. And even United...
No, true, but United still have Europa League. I don't think it's just that. I think it's more about, again, if you maybe look at Chelsea have done their business in this season. We haven't, like, if you think about it, Chelsea's business right now is done in this season. That's this season's money. When the window opens, that's the transfer kitty for next season. So we're already planning for next season. So in the head, it's kind of like, you know what, to achieve the objective, we need to build on. And I think that's where the difference in mentality is between the two clubs. Whereas Chelsea are saying, you know what, we're sick and tired of being here. Like, we know where we should be and we're comparing ourselves to that. But how long are we going to cry about it and not do something about it? Whereas United, it feels very much like, okay, well, we want to be...
No, but the thing is, Chelsea are almost like a year behind United anyway. Because Chelsea haven't been able to spend this whole year. So they've essentially been able to achieve fourth without having to really spend. United had that splurge of kind of, we need to fix our defence last year. Like so United are almost like a year ahead. So for me, this summer should be an extra for United to get the right winger they need or whatever, or get that extra striker, get that extra defensive midfielder, whatever they need. Those 2 or 3 signings are. I don't know what it is. Maybe a left back and a right winger. But for me, I think Chelsea is more of a defence thing, and the fact that they haven't been able to spend, that's probably why we're seeing such an eagerness and a hungerness from them to spend.
No, you're right there. But even with like United fans will probably come out and say, well, one of the things we need is a holding mid, but we've just given long-term contracts to 2 other guys, and we've got other people there, and it's like, okay, so where are we actually going? Are we settling? Or are we trying to be the best? So
I'm telling you, the message from up there is not clear. With Chelsea, you know what Abramovich wants. With Manchester United, you don't really know. You hear about journey, you hear about this, that. Listen, Ole himself came out and said, if we make top 4, then it's been a good journey. So I asked the question, so if we didn't make top 4, you should get sacked, right? Surely, this game was basically a sacking, because if it's been a good journey, if we get top 4, what would it have been if we didn't get top 4? That means you should have got sacked. Right?
Yeah, he'd probably get to the Europa League.
One game, basically in his own eyes or whatever, it's like one game saved his job, basically. Is that what I'm being told? So if that's the case, get rid of him. If that's the case, get rid of him. If it's only one game, get rid of him, because nothing significantly is going to change that way.
You know why that one's tricky? Because you could argue the same for, and again, I'm just devil's advocate. Chelsea, 66 points this season. Last season, we had, 72?
You guys have big excuses, though. I'm telling you, United don't have excuses. You guys have context.
I hear you. I hear you. There's context, but I'm playing devil's advocate.
So if next season, you don't know you're saying what the targets will be for United, you think the board will ask Ole to do the same thing and say, just qualify for top 4?
Pretty much. What could the target be realistically? Looking at Ole and looking at Manchester United, there's no way they're going to be telling
the gap,
no, of course, close the gap. You can't be 33 points off the champion, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be like, yo, you lot, go and try and win the Premier League. I think it's just going to be, keep us, get that top 3, get us into the Champions League securely. That's what I think the message is going to be. That's not what I want the message to be, but that's what I think the message is going to be.
I think every window so far with United, they've shown Wan-Bissaka, Maguire coming in the summer, Bruno coming in. Like, each signing's made their difference, whether it be good or bad or whatever. But I think they've always shown that they're willing to kind of back Ole in the long term, even if it's for the whole United project. But I think this summer, for me, I think you lot will spend the money. And I don't see why you lot can't close the gap, to be honest. I think the coaching side of things, I hear it. I think maybe Ole's not going to push you over that edge. He's not. Maybe that's where you kind of lack in the end. But I think financially and all that, I think your squad definitely won't be the same as to what it's finished with now come next season. I
would hope in the season where the FFP is relaxed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Try and capitalise. But I mean,
coming out of the club isn't even sounding great. what's coming out of the club is you're hearing stuff like we might only have 150 million to spend. We need to raise money through sales. Revenue has hit us. We're not like Chelsea. We're not like City. We're not so owned by your owner who's just gonna pump money from oil money. We ain't got that. We may not make most of their money from revenue, bro. The Champions. I mean, all of this has affected it. Do you know what I mean? All of the no fans coming in, that's affected it. Don't forget what we're the biggest stadium. Well, is it? No, we're the biggest stadium in the Premier League. So our revenue, what we come in is, it's a lot, fam. We're one of them clubs that the Bayern Munich owner said it. We're a proper club in terms of how we raise our money. We raise the money similarly to how Bayern do and stuff. We're not like City and Chelsea, bro. This FFP lifting thing sounds great, but that's good for Chelsea and City because you've got oil owners, fam. We ain't got that, fam. We ain't got that. We need to be raising money through sales and stuff. So what's coming out of the club is coming out like Corona has really affected things. And, you know, if we make Champions League, it makes it a little bit better. And it's not sounding too positive, but I'm just hoping, you know, we're still just going to, like, all of this stuff about Coman and, like, what is all of this, man? What, like, honestly, what is going on? Why
You're not a fan now?
Have to be... But why does... No, I'm not a fan of Coman. Why does everything have to be a saga, fam, with Man United? Chelsea just get the job done. City just get the job done. What's all these smoke screens that have to be thrown out and all? Like, why is this always the case with Man United? Like,
you know what I will say about United? When it comes to transfer rumours, like, I always do find it weird. Like, for lack of a better term, you're always linked with like kind of hand-me-down players. Like, you're never linked with like, well, with the Sancho stuff, you're linked with like him. But other times, it's like, oh, hand-me-down. Coman, that's a hand-me-down. Like. And that's
Coleman is the definition of a hand-me-down from PSG to Juve.
Do you get where I'm coming from? Do you get where I'm coming from when I say that phrase, hand-me-down ballers?
That brother is like a zoo. He's getting passed around Europe. The only thing, though, you can say is Coleman is like a good luck charm because he's won the league everywhere.
He wins the league everywhere he goes, yeah, of course. But
I mean, if Coleman comes in...
Listen. The way I see it is, United are a small club. If we let Bayern Munich if we buy Coman, right, and not get Sancho, after Bayern Munich we're going to sign Sane, then United are just a small club. That's like Arsenal loaning Ceballos and that. Like, I mean, it's not even of signing, it's loan. We're going to loan, man. Come on, bruv. Like, let's get serious out here, man.
Just to wrap up on United, though, what would you say is your highlight of the season?
The season, yeah.
And your low point.
Who's your player of the season as well?
Highlight of the season. The highlight of Manchester United season.
Must have been when the Avengers assembled a couple games ago, was it? And you know, was playing that free flow shit.
Nah, I'd say probably
MMG.
MMG is the club
is yeah, right. Never that, fam. The highlight of the season is probably. What's my highlight of the season?
Rashford's form and this.
No, I'd probably say, yeah, man. That's probably what I like. I would have said that's not highlight. That's kind of like that was kind of like gradual, but an actual highlight. Are you talking about like a game, or are you talking about what?
Anything in general.
Anything. Just a high moment where you was like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I'd probably say when Pogba came back, and we had Bruno playing Pogba. That was probably Bruno signing, man. That's probably the highlight of the season. Him coming in is the highlight of the season. That's my favorite. That's not my favorite. He's not like my player of the season, but him coming in did transform things. So I'll probably say that's probably the highlight of the season.
What's the low point?
The low point. What was the low point of Man United?
It must have been last week when you man were like, oh, you know what, Leicester are going to beat us.
Hey, that must have been against West
Ham.
Yeah. Bro, we were lower this season, man. Don't forget, bro. Before Bruno came, we were fighting for the top 10, fam.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah, there's been some low points. I'd probably say, bro, I remember one game when I think it was Newcastle, and Rashford was up front on his own, and bro, this one no Martial.
I'll tell you. You know what was actually the highlight moment?
Yeah,
I just remember the camp.
Yeah.
When Jose returned to Old Trafford,
yeah.
and Rashford did the job. That's your highlight. How can you forget that?
No,
that's your highlight.
Off Jones, it was a great highlight. So,
That was a revenge night. I remember. This morning was FaceTiming, man. Like, yo.
Tweet like a madman, innit? Rashford was tweet like a villain. That was before he became a politician.
I'd say player of the season. You know what? I'm not going to give the player of the season to who I think's been the best. I'm going to give to what I think is the best story. So I'm going to give the player of the season to Greenwood. For me,
maybe like the FWA, yeah. Maybe like the FWA.
There's story in that.
The way he's come in, the way he's made everyone aware of what his abilities are, the way everyone knows that this guy is going to be a superstar. Most goals scored by a teenager ever for Manchester United at the moment, and he still got Europa, joint with Rooney, George Best, and one other guy. I can't remember the other person.
Oh,
there's the no, for Man United. Oh. Yeah. So 17 goals this season, and just I think half of his goals have been either equalizers or winners, or something along them lines, or something. Like the guy is his emergence season. Yeah, his emergence this season has just been amazing, and the way he after lockdown as well put on some muscle, and then probably started looking like our go-to player. So I'd say
the man get the trim, bro.
Exactly. So for me, he's my personal player of the season. But if you're talking about who's probably been like our best performer, can't forget how much Rashford was doing for us going in before lockdown, before his injury. Much Bruno afterwards. Martial has kind of just been like steady Eddie. Then after lockdown, he's been our best player. So it's hard. It's hard because, as you said, Fuad, it's like two phases of Man United. It's like pre-lockdown and post-lockdown. It's kind of hard. With pre-lockdown,
I'll say three because when did Bruno come?
Pre-Bruno as well. I said pre-Bruno.
Post-Bruno.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And in lockdown, exactly. Literally, Rashford was our player of the season, got injured, then it became Bruno. Then after lockdown, it's been Martial. So it's like. It's a weird one. I don't even know who's going to win Club Player of the Year this year. I don't really know.
What you're saying now, I think that runs for a lot of clubs.
Ain't Maguire.
What you're saying now that will happen. He said it's not Maguire for sure.
Oh, but you want to hear something?
I have to get a little cheap digging.
He's going to drop a stat about clean sheets.
It's the stat he's waiting to jump in the group chat.
That one. United have conceded 36 goals this season. Last season, we conceded 54. Last season, we finished sixth, right? We finished third. And Maguire has played every single minute of the Premier League season. First player to do that since Gary Pellez started in 1994 to 95. So, thanks, Max.
Participation trophy. Well done, mate. Participation. We appreciate your participation, lad. Well done.
That's for United, bro.
I was gonna say because I know hella teams that the players played for the whole season.
Didn't John Terry do that under Jose?
John Terry, Cahill, Aspilicueta, Bearman had that for us.
That was a rival.
No, with Chelsea.
But let's get to Chelsea now.
What you were just saying now, though, I think that happens for a lot of teams because I mean, with Chelsea, Kovacic arguably is probably like for me. I keep saying it's our player of the season, but if you look at this post-lockdown thing. The form of like your Pulisic, Giroud and whatnot, if you were to do recency bias and you'd be like, all right, those guys have been our player of the season. But on the whole, I'd say it's Kovacic. But with everything, it's kind of like, you know what, the objective is it's done. If you look at the way we slipped up against Sheffield United and West Ham, and then you look at our performance at Liverpool, I think that it just sums up our season.
Are you disappointed that you finished fourth behind United, having led like ahead of them?
I'm not disappointed. I'm happy that this season's over because it's one of those things where
one of them ones,
like if you put everything into context, where for me that Liverpool game, because you might know I didn't watch it live. I came back to watch it because I was doing what I was doing. When I watched it, it just highlighted everything for me. Like we try, but in big games like that, the lack of quality becomes very apparent. And then when we play teams with less quality, where we should be beating them, there's no bottle. And that's why we mess up big games. So what that gives you across the whole of the season is you get a lack of consistency. Because 1 minute you can do a performance like you do at Liverpool and get the result, which we did at City. And then the next week you go and lose 3-0 to Sheffield United. And that's kind of been the story of our season. We've lost 12 games this season. 12 out of
Bro.
38. Like, that tells you.
Am I right in saying you lot have more losses this season than Jose did when he was 10th?
Yeah. Because that season the issue was the draws, and this season it's just loss. Some key losses as well, and what it just shows you is hopefully with this import of quality coming in, that shouldn't be the issue anymore.
What's your thoughts on Lamps' debut season as the Chelsea guy?
Again, I've said it. There's been lack of consistency with our performances, but I have to credit him for getting the job done. I never doubted that he could get it done. It was just about, okay, I fear, and I said this at the beginning, I fear that if he doesn't get it done, he's not going to be given time. Because I said, listen, Chelsea's
no nonsense, man.
Well, no nonsense. Like, imagine if this went the other way and we finished in 5th. I do believe the club would have probably said, you know what, listen, we've tried it with you, get out of it. Like, I give the example of Arsenal. Arsenal finished 8th, right? 56 points. If you take Aubameyang out of that team now, where did they finish next season? They're toast. We had Hazard last season, where people can say whatever they want because Hazard's not performing this season, but KDB is getting rave reviews this season. Hazard had a literally identical season last season, and no one said anything. You take that player out, you can't sign anyone, and then the players that come in are youth players that a lot of people are telling me are not good enough to play for Chelsea. Yet you managed to stay in this sort of position where it was because of us or people messing up. You stayed in this sort of position for the whole season. You've got to cross the line. I can't fault it. There's been some things that have been criminal, and he'll probably come out and say it himself. Like, if Giroud left in January, where would that have left our season? We would have been big trouble, but it didn't happen. That's if and buts. Giroud, he got the best out of Giroud. I think Giroud ended up at 10 goals or something like that.
How would you grade his season overall?
His season overall, I would give it like a B-. I'd give it a B-. Like, I don't think it's a C. I don't think it's an A. I think B- is probably, because again, like, is he where he should be? Yeah, because you're not going to be above the top 2. Would I have hoped that we would have been points gap a bit closer? Yes. Are we still on track to win the trophy? Yes, we're still on track to win the FA Cup. So I think
if he wins the FA Cup, it's a B. For me, at the moment, it's just, I can hear a B- type of thing. It's just, for me, I don't know. When I think, like, your defensive record is worse than what it was under Sarri. As we said, you've lost more games than you did kind of under Jose. Like, we touched on it a couple of weeks ago where we said individually, we're not sure if he's improved players in particular. Maybe 1 or 2 in Pulisic we can give him credit for. But can you give Lampard the credit for that he's improved? We said no. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure whether it's been Lamps' coaching that's kind of got Chelsea this position, in all honesty. I think it's been a lot of the players, to be honest. And I think a lot of Chelsea's experienced players especially don't get the credit, maybe. Like the Giroud, Aspi, Willian, Pulisic, the way he's come out and shown. Kovacic, who you said, like Mount. I'm sorry, but Mount has stepped up at points in this season. And I even want to get your thoughts on kind of what you think of him in his debut season and stepping up from kind of Derby. Like, has he lived up to kind of the billing as to what you thought he would be at the start of the season? And then just how much credit do you give kind of the players or the manager for the season?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I've said it from the beginning with Mount. Mount is a good player and he's going to give you everything. This guy's played 51 games this season, and he's been ever dependable. Whatever position.
That was a big goal today. That free kick, bro.
Massive goal, but it's not just that goal. It's a goal during the week. It's like he's been rising up to the occasion.
Spurs,
so again, like with him, I expect that. And we say it all the time, young players are going to have dips in their form. They're young. He hasn't played at this level before. I wouldn't say he's been thrown into it, but naturally you have senior pros having dips. Jamie Vardy went on a mad scoring streak, then stopped. That's a Premier League bagsman. Talkless of a 21-year-old, you get me? So that's going to happen. You can't expect players to be the finished article in their first season. So when I see stuff like that, it was like, cool, what, the kid's going to come good. Like, he's been ever dependable. He's played every single game. And that's why when we spoke the FA Cup game and he said, did anyone stand out? I was like, no, because this is the level I expect from him. Like, I've seen it all season. So, but even with what you're saying, what you have to remember is, at the end of the day, a coach and manager's job is to galvanize these players and whatnot. And that's why I wasn't worried about this Wolves game, because I knew one thing for sure. if Lampard's going to do anything, if it's not tactical anything, he's going to make these boys realise how big this occasion is and how much they've effed up so far, and that they have to get over the line. So it's very easy to try and dissociate with himself with what's going on the pitch, but at the same time, like, he's there. The one thing that, again, with Chelsea, you have to keep consistency with everything. So Sarri got sacked for his season last year for whatever reason. If we're being real, this sort of season, this is points-wise, I think it's worse than the AB season.
Sacked.
That's what some people say, but again, you have to look at context. Chelsea lost their best player, no transfer window and whatnot.
100%,
this
no
is very much
window, yeah.
a transition team. And next season, when I see him with his players' quotation marks and whatnot, you can give a better judgment. I think just with Chelsea fans are always going to battle, and this is thanks to Jose Mourinho, by the way. Chelsea fans are always going to battle this thing where we expect ourselves to be here because we've been there for so long. So when we don't see that, we're always going to ask questions. But what you have to realize is there's two teams in the country now that are head and shoulders better than us right now. Next season, can we get a bit closer or actually make a real challenge of it with the talent coming in? This is very much a what you would call a project. Like, Roman's investing his money into the team. We're signing good young talent. Like what Werner, if we get Werner and Havertz, that's two of Germany's finest talent that we've managed to sign. Yeah. I know Sane's gone back there, but we've just signed two of the finest talents in German football. Ziyech is a wonderful footballer himself. And then you start correcting the other stuff. So one of the things I wanted to point out is I remember when I was hooting and raving about Rudiger. Rudiger's been one of those players this season, maybe post-injury. He's arguably one of the players that has gone backwards. And that's, think about it, that is someone that is supposed to be Chelsea's A centre-back. Post the injury, he's actually gone backwards in form. So it's about, okay, how do you sort stuff like out? That our goalkeeper has been the worst in the league. How can you sort that out? And these are things that Lampard's had to deal with this season, you know. Like, if I gave any other team Kepa, I'm sure that you start going, look at the season, you start going, all right, you've got the worst goalkeeper. But like I said, B-, objective in terms of that sense. This is not something to start celebrating and raving about. And that's the one thing I want to make clear to anyone that's a Chelsea fan. Like, we shouldn't start doing backflips about this. This is kind of the standard that is for Chelsea now.
This is regular setting,
Yeah. Even the fact that we're saying, you know what, we need to get top 4 feels a little bit embarrassing. I'll be honest, it does feel embarrassing that Chelsea are saying, no, we need to get top 4. Because in the back of my head, I know that that's a given. As long as stoppage time, that's Mazer's target. The thing is, it's not supposed to be a target. You get what I'm coming from? It's supposed to be shoot for the stars.
That drink is banging, Cam.
Sit drink, If you aim for the stars and you fall off and you stumble to be, you happen
I tried that yesterday.
You happen to drop off. It's like, okay, we're there. Like, we shouldn't have been in a situation where it's like, you know what? If we get top 4, it's a good season. So. Take from that what you will. I think that's the best way to highlight it. We go again next season. And I'll be honest, with that Bayern match coming up, I want to see that Bayern match, the Champions League. I want to see what happens there again, because for me, it will be a good opportunity once more to see the difference in level. That their level, what they showed us in that 3-year, that level that they showed us in the 3-1 was the level. That is okay. That's where you want to be. I want to see that match again and be like, okay, you know what? Those signings we make, can I visualize that making that gap a bit closer? Because that's the reality now. The reality is we've got quality coming in. We can't hide from that. We have quality coming in. Therefore, we should improve. So how much are we going to improve? Are we going to improve to a state where it's like, you know what, we can start going toe-to-toe? Are we going to improve that? It means that when we play Liverpool, we don't concede 5 goals or something. So, hold tight the young players that came in this season. Tomorrow got injured and whatnot. Reece James, you know what? You can build on that. Mount, ever dependable. Tammy, for whatever we say, he got his 15 goals that helped us. I mean, from those 15 goals, I think it was like 12 points he actually won for us as well. If you look at where we are, what was it, 6 points? That's a substantial amount. So, I mean, I can't...
He's had his contribution.
All of those players have had a contribution.
First half of the season, he did his thing. Second half of the season, Giroud did his thing.
And again, Lampard can't take credit for it. Lampard can't take credit for it.
That's one thing I was just about to say.
Lampard cannot take credit for it.
He was reluctant to play Giroud. He almost wanted to get rid of Giroud. And then when he realised, I can't get, was it Matey at Napoli?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I forgot his name. Mertens. When he realised I can't get him, I can't get Cavani. Do you know what? We're keeping Giroud. And then Giroud just said,
can't take
does
credit
what
for
Giroud
it.
does.
And fair play, he hasn't taken credit for it. He said Giroud's come out.
Yeah, I give him credit for that as well. He's been honest.
He called it. He's been honest because he cannot take credit for Giroud doing and whatnot.
So what would you say is your highlight, low moment, and player of the season?
Highlight of the season, rarely enough, was
beating.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even that. It was that City game.
That's regular business, isn't it?
What Spurs? The Spurs thing is like, I said it the whole time I've been on stoppage. Like, I hate saying it, but like I always said, my team's always going to end up top dog. Like, but that's nothing because I want to be on top of the hill, not at the top of us lot. But
you like that bit more. Not like
because it doesn't mean anything. Like you guys for the last 5 seasons.
But you were saying City.
What's that?
Huh?
Mate.
Yo.
Remember when you said, what was it, 2 weeks ago? You said, "Oh, since Stoppage started, you man's teams have not finished above mine."
Bro, he loves it, innit? He tries to act all fake humble and shit.
But Cam, we celebrating goal difference.
Now it's like,
Cam,
hey,
we celebrating goal difference.
Cam,
are we celebrating goal difference after saying that this is appalling?
10 minutes ago, who's saying, yo,
I said it was appalling.
We're not doing this.
That is celebrating.
Look at me and listen to me. Proofs in the puds. That's what I got to say.
Goal difference.
I don't even
This guy was panicking all week, you know. But no, I think highlight for me was the City game because especially with this whole project restart thing, you know, you can hear what's going on and whatnot. I just liked how Chelsea went about that game. Lowest point for me, I'll be honest, was that between that Sheffield and West Ham result, I can't pick which one made me more angry. I actually can't point out which one.
Well, they were back to back, innit?
It's essentially, yeah. I can't decipher which one made me more.
Oh, I remember that.
That was a really low moment. Player of the season, Kovacic, but hold tight Pulisic because.
Jizzy, nah?
Huh?
Jizzy don't get no love?
No. Like again, like Giroud's been a staple of consistency of when he came in, and again, I expect that from Giroud, and I expect that he should have featured more. But Kovacic, even today, in today's game, like the way Kovacic was playing, like getting his body everywhere. Like again, he's just been, for me, Chelsea have not had standout performers like that. Pulisic has been bright in this bit of a bit. Giroud's been good when he's come in. Kovacic has only been the only one for that the whole season has kind of maintained that sort of level. So that's why I'd give it to him. And again, I think he's one of those players where I want to see him pick on from where he is this season. Like last season he did well. This season he's done better. Can you pick up even further? Pulisic, I respect it.
He just needs to add like a couple more goals to his game.
He just needs to start affecting the game statistically. That's it.
He does everything else. He gets the ball so much. He's such a dribbler. Creatively as well, he creates chances. But I'm just like, yo, if he had,
he doesn't even create that many mad chances. You know, he doesn't create that many mad chances. I know.
But what he does is he opens the game up. That's what I like about him.
He carries the ball. It's a good ball carrier.
100%. So I'm like, yo, if he can just get that final killer end product, I feel like
it makes a different conversation.
That little bit more, which was weird because growing up, he was naturally a number 10 at Dinamo, and when he signed for Inter Milan.
And then he became a bit more reclusive and started carrying the ball. But no, I think if you had to sum it up, I got to respect Pulisic as well because in terms of what he's done, he has essentially kind of made the team his own. And we can go back to older episodes where I said he's one of those guys where if you look at any dribbler in the Premier League, the one thing you'd say is they have arrogance and aggression. You can't be passive in the Premier League.
Nah.
And we always knew that he could dribble the ball. That was a given from his Dortmund days. But it's like, you need that aggression if you're going to play in the Premier League. You need to be able to dribble at people and say, you know what, I'm going to sit you down on your ass because I'm here. And post this little thing here, well, when he scored a hat-trick, he did it. It was like, oh, okay, against Burnley. It's like, okay, I can see something.
Yeah.
The last few games, he has been playing like it's his team. And it's like, you know what, anytime I touch the ball, something has to fly. And I respect it because that's the attitude that he's going to need to keep pushing him. So hold tight him. FA Cup now, I just want to get Arsenal out of here. It would be really funny if we stop them from being where they want to be in Europe.
Bro,
because Baku, in Baku, they were for it. We slapped them.
I've had a lot of Arsenal fans DM me this week saying they're very confident They're like the FA Cup.
They were
is
confident
half
last
thing.
time as well. This is the thing, man. Like with
Hey,
Arsenal,
That's
I
what
just
I
take
said to them.
everything with a.
They said the
take everything
last
with a
time
pinch
you
of
lot
salt.
played in the FA Cup, what was it? 2017.
2017, they won. Yeah, they won 2-1. I
They
think it
said
was.
they won. They trust me, bro. They were going crazy in the DMs.
Anything
that?
can happen.
Hmm?
You're both the kings of Wembley. There's no such thing as
Boy,
form or
listen.
nothing when it comes to.
This is it. Like they say that Wembley's theirs. Wembley's been our home as well. You get me? Even when Spurs were playing there. So I think it's one of those things where, like, I'm always going to fancy us. I'm always going to fancy us against Arsenal. Always going to fancy us against Arsenal. I mean, so it's just about getting it over the line. It would be nice for Lampard to get his first piece of trophy as a manager as well. I think I always say it. There's always something in winning trophies. Yeah, no, exactly. No players repeats. Like, you're here now, deliver. Like, deliver. You delivered as a player, deliver as a manager.
If Arsenal win that trophy, I'm on his neck.
Speaking of being on people's necks, Jose Mourinho celebrating a draw today. Talk to me.
What, are we on his neck for that? Listen, man.
Hey, Cam, I didn't even tell you how much you want to bet in the space of next week. Jose Mourinho is going to come out and say that getting Spurs to Europe is the biggest achievement in his career. How much you want to bet? He's going to say how much?
Bro, no. I reckon till he wins the Europa League or something. Till he wins the Europa League or something. That's when that line will get dropped.
He's going to be like, I think, you know.
But listen, I mean, that was his target. That was his target that he come in with, and he's kind of achieved it. So fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want it purely because of the extra fixtures, but I mean, last week or so, I kind of knew that this was kind of inevitable because also I don't trust Arsenal to win the FA Cup. So even if we finished 7th, I think we would have qualified for Europa by force. But listen, we're here.
Are you hearing how man are talking, Cam?
What?
No, I don't want to play European competitions, but I'll just go.
It is what it is.
Right.
We're here now, you know. We're here.
Man.
It's another. Hey, you know what? But it's another opportunity to win silverware next season. I think it's a realistic trophy we can actually win. I think Jose actually wants to go for it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. Trust me, don't get it twisted. But I just think now we need to actually have some additions to help the squad if we're actually going to be deep enough. If we're going to have midweek fixtures, because that's my biggest concern is that this team isn't the 11 is not as quality. And I think today's game was a perfect reality check for that. Like, Palace dominated possession. They had way more chances. And I think it just showed kind of if this team isn't clicking on all cylinders, i.e. Kane scoring, Son firing on all cylinders, like Moura playing out of his skin, Lloris doing whatever, it's not going to work. So for me, clearly there needs to be... Bro, I'm not even joking with you. But it's even worse because at least they've got some...
They got Lengman up front. They got 3 guys
brother,
that can score.
At least. And we've got Kane as well, don't get it twisted. But we still need more. We still need more. And for me, that's the thing I think I'm worried about next season is the Europa League going to distract us from trying to get into top 4 again? Because that's the target for us next season.
So tell you what, before we go any further,
rebuild mode.
Before we go any further, I think this is the lowest you finished in 5 seasons. If you on goal differences,
sure, yeah,
is what
at the
saved
Champions
you.
League for the first time in 5 years, isn't it?
Goal difference is what saved you from your worst finish in 10 years. And what that tells me is Spurs the last 5 years have consistently been the Champions League sort of team and whatnot. But gradually you've gone 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 4th.
Trickling
6th.
down.
Yeah, so gradually you've trickled down, which is weird because, and it kind of highlights everything you've ever said on Stoppage. So you know what, fair play for the consistency. You've always said Pochettino needs investment. It's always been, it's in the project. Gradually that project
has just deteriorated, bro.
Yeah. So, I again, you guys need investment. Whether Jose Mourinho is someone that needs investment, whether you guys get the investment that you need, I don't know. Because to get back into the top 4, it's going to cost peas.
It's like I said. Even he came out in the press conference today and said, "Look, we're not going to spend 100 million on a player," and I don't expect that. But for me, it's smart signings. Like, I'll be honest.
Zaha's there for 40 million, apparently.
Zaha,
you got to look at
there for
Bournemouth went down,
I'm hearing Nathan Aki just went down. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Bournemouth have gone down, so you got
Max Aarons, Jamal Lewis.
Brooks,
these are the kind of players, young players that you can. Yeah, you got to look in a different market, if that makes sense, as a Europa League club. In all honesty, you ain't got the Champions League pool. You ain't got the finances that where we're going to pay extraordinary wages. So this, for me, is arguably one of the most important windows in Spurs' history, in my opinion, because it's going to dictate a lot kind of going forward. And Jose, I trust him kind of next season to kind of try and get us at least competing for a top 4 spot, if in all honesty, I think. But if he comes back with this same squad, i.e. the Lamellas, the Dyers, the Auriers that we've been complaining about all season, and he says, these are my guys, you're going to have to lay on the bed when you die with these men as well next season, because it ain't going to go down well. Because I'll be real with you, if we come back with the same squad, with Europa League midweek, and we're hoping to get back in top 4, brother, I'm
Let me be so real with you. Yeah? Wait, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Let me be so real with you. I think this window kind of will... Actually, wait, hold on 1 second. John. Yeah, I think this window kind of... your next few years, I'll be honest with you, because I think Liverpool and City are going to keep trying to run away. Chelsea are going to try and run and get closer to them. United are United. Wolves are a team that will look at where they are now. They've got more points than they did last season. They finished lower. They're going to invest because it's going to be like, listen, we can be closer. Our guy Hasenhüttl, Southampton, they've managed to finish 2 points out of the top 10 after being in the relegation zone for time.
Bro.
The way they've performed and everything.
Now we're getting battered 9-0.
Real talk. So the way they've performed, they know that, you know, if we add a bit of quality here, we can get a bit closer. We can start parlaying. You get me? We can start having a conversation about, can we get closer to what? Can we do what Leicester? In fact, can we do what Leicester did? That's the conversation they're going to start having. Leicester are going to look at where they are, and Brendan Rodgers has been... We're going to go into him anyway, but Brendan Rodgers has been quite telling in his last 3 press conferences. He's come out and said, if you look at the season and all the teams around us, we are where we should be. So he believes that they're not a top 4 team, but they're a challenger team, 5th, 6th. They're going to try and invest a bit of P so they can make sure they can secure that.
They're going to have his next season. They're not going to have that clear midweek fixture. They're going to have the Europa League as well.
Exactly. Arsenal are Arsenal. And if Auba stays, I don't know, if Aubameyang stays, Pepe has his 2nd season and whatnot, Saka starts cooking, Martinelli comes in, they're in a position where it's like, okay, you know what? Can they build on the measly 56 points that they got? So yeah. I think Spurs need to invest to make sure that they're not in that conversation with everyone else, because like we've highlighted, you guys actually managed to get yourself in a conversation where you were with the big boys for the last 5 years.
Yeah. And now we've fallen off kind of thing.
Yeah,
and listen, it's been arguably one of the worst seasons in Spurs like that I've been watching for a while. And we've had like a lot of bad seasons. But in all honesty, I mean, like now once the season's finished, you take it into account. It's like we've got Europa League. We're 3 points off Leicester, who were runaway 3rd place a little while back. So we've like our defensive, we've kind of improved a little bit. Like Harry Kane is back scoring goals.
We switched manager during the season.
We switched managers during the season. He's now starting to get his kind of pragmatic approach in place. So it's like I've seen positives to kind of take forward into next season, but I want to continue to see that progression. We can't just think, do you know what, we've had a little purple patch at the end of the season and life is good now. Spurs are ready to go. It's like, nah, bro, we still got a lot of steps to take to... Because a lot of the times what we're doing with Spurs is we're comparing Spurs to their best ever finish. Yeah. And it's like just trying to surpass that. It's like, yeah. If we surpass our best ever points tally, or if we finish 2nd or something like that, nah, bro, we need to just look at it as like a winner's mentality. Like have serious ambition for once. That's what I want to see from this board. It's like if you've seen arguably the worst season in your club's history in Daniel Levy's time being documented on an Amazon documentary, don't let it be on some joke thing, bro. Let them know, all right, you've had your laughs now, we're loading up. This is the reason why I brought Jose in. Here's some money, here's some players. Let's get rid of the crap you don't need, you don't want. Let's move forward. We've seen the positives at the end of the season you can bring. All right, let's progress and build on that. Otherwise, you've just brought Jose in vain. All these purple patches we've had at the back end of the season is basically for nothing. And it's like, you've still got that same level of ambition as, you know what, as long as we're getting a bit of Europe and we're kind of competing for European spots, we're okay as a club. It's like, nah, bro, how long can you be comfortable there? There comes a point where you get so comfortable, the teams behind you start catching up. And like you're saying, Leicester's, the Wolves, they're loading up, bro. They're sick of seeing as Spurs as, oh, you know what? They're usually the best of the rest and trying to break into that classic top 4, if you like. Let's snatch that title and drag these men back to the graves that they used to be at. So, listen.
I mean, that's what happened.
Said,
Wolves finished on joint points with you. Arsenal finished 3 points behind you. So
100%. So, as much as we've seen improvements, we need to kind of move that forward. And
what would you say?
In all honesty, I want to give a couple of shout-outs as well.
Yeah.
It's like Lloris, someone who I absolutely slandered at the start of the season when he got his injury. You remember?
Yeah.
I said, hey, I'm good if I don't see that brother again. Second half, since he's come back from injury, I like what I've seen. It's almost remnants of the old Lloris, and I'm like, you know what? I love this. But let's not forget, when the first comments were made, go back and watch the Brighton game. Go back and watch the Leicester game. Go back and watch the Newcastle game. Go back and watch the Olympiacos, the Bayern Munich. Brother, this man was costing us.
Many men
he cost us Europe.
Wish death upon me.
No, bro.
A man wished evil on his captain.
Listen,
bro.
But I'm happy to turn around, and it's good to see. What?
That's an ego. Come through, my dog.
Listen, you've wished worse on the hay. Yeah? So let's not go there. And you've got Kepa over there, yeah? So you know you're wrong, yeah?
I got Caballero.
Right here, this is not the place of goalkeepers.
I got Caballero.
For real, hey, listen, Kepa, it's all over for him, man. But listen, Lloris, big turnaround. Mora, we're starting to see a little bit more of what we saw when we initially got him. Like, for this, in the last, 18 months, Mora's only got 3 assists. Or 4 assists, I think it is.
I'm sorry?
Some ridiculously low number, basically.
Some Lingard
I saw it the other day, and I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. You see Mora with the ball a lot, dribbling a lot, but he doesn't actually create chances for his teammates. He's always trying to get that shot off. It's like head down, dribble, shoot. But I've seen improvements of him since the restart, and do you know what? If he can carry that on into next season, I don't mind him being a squad player, but if he needs to be sold for reinvestment, he's put himself in a good position for the market. But
who else you shouting out?
That's it.
You're not making no bread off Lucas Moura. You're better off keeping it.
Brother.
Making a young 6.5 mil.
Are you mad? When Everton are spending 30 million on Iwobi, 35 million on Joe Linton, I'm seeing. Brother, we'll get a good piece for Moura. What, a decent 20 mil? I'll take that.
10 million.
Hey, listen, who's this R2D2? We can't hear what you're saying, bro. Listen, I'll take anything from Moura in a minute. But we've seen improvements. I'll take what I can from him, man. Listen, what do you think? I won't take that for Aurier?
Oh, hey, no, Cam Novus. You know when they say undisclosed?
Listen, I don't care, bro.
What's your highlight of the season?
There ain't really been much, to be honest. That's been a fucking highlight. I'd say when we got a couple of back-to-back clean sheets, when we beat Arsenal.
Hey, what's it called? Have you not got anything to say to? I forgot to say, but hold tight, Pedro. Listen, all the best of your career. Have you got anything to say to Vertonghen?
Jan, hey, listen, super Jan, man. 8 years, bro. The guy's a legend at the club.
Is he gone yet?
Yeah, I think pretty much. We ain't heard no news of like a contract renewal or anything. Like him and Toby at one point formed like one of the best centre-back pairings I thought over the last decade. Something we ain't seen in a minute. Had one of the best defensive records for like 2 seasons, I think Spurs did. And they were a big part of that. So, Jan, listen, big ups. Always got a place, bro.
Speaking of Spurs legends and defenders, Ledley King, talk to me. What are you thinking about
Hey, listen, I heard that this week when Ledley King's coming back as a coach, apparently, to join Jose's staff, bro.
Yeah.
This defense, nothing more. No news could have been better. I absolutely love it, honestly. And it's a very kind of like un-Jose-esque move, to be honest. I wasn't expecting Ledley to come back, but a legend like that, to have him around the place, a few classy Rolls-Royce defender can actually teach some of these men how to defend, bro, I'll take it all day. He's the main reason why I even support this club, so big ups to Ledley, man. Good to see him back.
What was that, Cam?
I said Ledley King thing is forced, boy.
Shut up, man. Says the guy who's all, do you remember? Give it Giggsy! Give it Giggsy!
Give it Giggsy end of the season.
Get out here, man.
Oh, man. Who's your player of the season for Spurs?
You man are out here drowning your legends.
Player of the season for Spurs.
I'll say that again.
Player of the season for Spurs.
Toss-up between Son and Kane, to be honest. I know Son collected all the awards the other day, kind of clean sweep for the second year. But I think Kane's season's kind of gone under the radar, obviously, because he's had a big 6-month sellout, kind of little blip at the start. But hey, the boy's still delivered every time he's played. So credit to him. I'd probably give it to Kane in all honesty, just because I like the story of the coming back from injuries. Everybody
FWA,
saying, you know,
everyone's doing
chocolate
stories.
knees. Hey,
Everyone's doing
hey,
stories.
Son. To be honest, yeah, I would say didn't have any better. I would say Son hadn't had a better year than he did last year. Like Son is only getting it purely because everyone else around him has been so awful.
Yeah,
in all honesty, yeah, like that's what it is for me. Whereas Kane, I actually feel like he's performed up to the levels. And people have forgotten him because he's been missing a big chunk of the season. Me personally, I'll give it to Kane.
You're moving mad.
Why am I moving mad?
You're moving mad. You're moving mad. You know, Kane, you're moving mad.
What?
You're moving mad.
What do you mean?
It's definitely
24.
Kane. Loud.
What is it? 24 and 34. What is it? 18 league goals. Am I right? Is that level with Rashford?
Allow it, please.
Hey, that's cheeky. That is bare cheeky.
I don't know.
That's bare cheeky.
You know, he missed 6 months out and shit. Like,
that's
I'm just
bare
looking.
cheeky.
Let me just check.
Hey, Cam, you have to fight back.
It's definitely.
Cam, you have to
I
fight
didn't even
back.
hear what he said, man.
He said, isn't that level with
said.
Rashford?
Oh, no. Rashford's got 14. Rashford's got 14.
Rashford's the winger.
Oh, do you remember when they used to say he was top 5 striker?
I hope
they forgot about that shout. Top 5 striker, my ass. That boy's on the wing. Hey.
He said, but what happened to Rashford being top 5 striker?
I heard Rashford was getting shut down by FIFA gens midweek. You see the Davy Tink kid?
Hey, listen. Someone said today, yeah? Someone said that Rashford is playing like the kids. The kids haven't been fed yet. Do you know how funny that is?
Bro, he was doing up some Pirlo left wing back role, but hey, listen, my boy Harry Kane, big ups, man.
No, I don't like them genders.
Looking sharp, and next season, you man better watch out.
Before we go into the relegation scrap, let's quickly touch on Leicester. Because I made a shout before we came back from restart that they won't make top 4, but their drop from grace has been
Who, Leicester?
Yeah, I mean, I said the shout. There was skepticism about it, but their drop. I didn't expect their drop from grace to be this bad. I'll be honest. When I said the shout, I had my calculations, but I didn't think it was this bad. This was. In terms of Premier League capitulations, this is probably one of the worst things I've seen in a long time. They were so far gone. They had one of the best defense records in the league.
Bro.
And now...
They lost that whole defense, mind you, in the back end. But, bro, Brendan Rodgers right now has 2 of the biggest bottle jobs to his name so far in Premier history, arguably.
Yeah.
In the Liverpool 13-14, and the fact that Leicester were runaway 3rd place of a Champions League, no European fixtures, and somehow you've thrown it all away. Hey, Brendan Rodgers, the biggest bridesmaid you'll see.
And this is why it's scary, because he comes out in the press conferences and he says that, well, Leicester are where they should be. And for me, that's the wrong mentality. It's the wrong mentality because, yeah, okay, that's cool. But
bitch mentality.
Manchester United were how many points behind Leicester? A good 14, 15, 16 points. Mm-hmm. Chelsea were probably like a good 9 points. And for this to happen, they were in the top 4 since like December.
Yeah.
So
before that as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, most likely before. But I mean, in terms of like not dropping out from December onwards, they were definitely in there.
100%.
But this to happen is bad. And again, like maybe when you look.
I remember when they were closer to City than they were Chelsea.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah. And when you look at their squad. Yeah. They don't. Oh, sorry. What's that term?
They were ahead of City at a point.
Swear.
Brother, shocking.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shocking.
And again, when you look at their team, like there's not a player that's going to leave because they're demanding Champions League football. But there's players in that squad where teams might look at them and be like, you know what? I fancy that. I fancy Ricardo Pereira. I fancy Ricardo Pereira. It's just manic, but yeah, there needs to be an inquest. I think there needs to be an inquest on Leicester. There needs to be an inquest on Man City. Cam, I know Cam's having dodgy connection. So let's quickly do
Technical difficulties.
We'll talk. Let's quickly do
It'll be
relegation.
a stoppage time episode without it, would it?
We'll talk. What we're saying, so Norwich down, Watford down, Bournemouth down. 35 points was enough to keep. 35 points was enough. That's mad. Watford going down, I won't let that hurt me. That's a black man's club. That club is engraved with black history.
What are you saying? Tridini and Andre Gray?
Gray. That is like a stand-up black man club, but their man should have done better. that's the reality of the situation.
Tridini's been doing podcasts all over the country, bro. You know what I mean? Focus on the game, bro.
Their man should have done better. Bournemouth, Eddie Howe. That's the longest serving Premier League manager in the Premier League at the moment, isn't it? He's out. They've gone down. Apparently he was crying.
That boring old story can go away now. Oh, Eddie Howe, up and coming English manager. Shut up. Go back to where you belong, bruv. Done.
But Villa safe, which for them is massive because the amount of money they spent, they would have had some serious...
They needed to stay up, bruv. They almost did a Fulham, bruv. Spending, 100 plus mil or whatever? Really went down. And then they got saved by their little homegrown talent.
Cam, this is where you need to find some signals so you can give props to your boy.
Is R2D2 not going to be up Grealish?
You want to give props to your guy?
My skipper! My skipper!
This thing will work. Bro.
Man,
no. I told man about Jack Grealish, bro. I told man from a long time ago. That guy is a baller, fam. Listen, if you're talking about carry jobs that you have seen in the Premier League, this is way up there. This is a one-man football club, fam. Aston Villa had no right being in the Premier League this season, bro. Last season, it was when Jack Grealish was given the captaincy. They went on a 18-game unbeaten run, ended up getting into the Premier League. He was unbelievable, unplayable. Shouldn't have even been in the Championship. Shouldn't have even been in the Premier League. Then they get to the Premier League. He's created the second most chances in the Premier League, second most from over. All his stuff is basically second to KDB, who plays for Manchester City, and his team just went and scored 102 goals this season. So Jack Grealish is different. It's different. What he's done is different. No Aston Villa striker has scored since January the 3rd. This is a carry job. No matter what people want to say, this is a carry job, and he has. I'm seeing man like.
You know when Scott Parker won Football Writers Association and he balled out and they got relegated. I was like, for me, because you know how all of these guys love stories. I found it interesting. Grealish wasn't nominated.
Nah.
Because you know they
go on the pitch. He didn't have the best story.
No, but they go for stories.
For the Football Writers one.
What's that?
He got a vote for the Football Writers one.
A vote. Do you know how many people vote?
No, I'm saying he was one of the. It didn't say how many people voted, but he was. That season Scott Parker won. Yeah, I know Scott Parker pulled out, but that man got relegated. He didn't keep them up, if you get me. But too technical for that. They like the Hendos, they like the Scott Parkers. That's what they liked in this country. But when you look at it, listen, I said it before lockdown, and I'm still going to say it again. Jack Grealish has been the team of the year. Simple as that. I'm seeing them squeeze Bruno in there. Listen, relax a little bit, please. He's played about 14 games. About 4 of them, it was poor as well in the last couple of games. Anyway,
hey,
Jack
Grealish all season. I've called it. He's an industry.
Bro, I'm telling you, Jack Grealish throughout the whole season.
No. I like Bruno as a player, but he's an industry plant. How is he getting man of the match for every single game? Man of the match for every single game.
He deserves it.
Like 2 players of the month. Like literally. Bruno will do nothing. He will do. Bruno will do Bruno stuff because, like I said, this is what he was doing.
United fans keep abusing him. We might have to come take him.
What? Jose, that's not playing Ndombele. Jose, that's not playing Ndombele.
Oh shit! Yeah. I'm joking. I'll take it back. Hey, edit that out.
Man thinks
You lot just need to appreciate him, though, man. I'm seeing already bare slander on him. I don't like it, bro. Bruno is a guy.
man think they can demand players
Well,
from
boss.
sixth.
But yeah, back to thingy. All right, listen, Jack Grealish, come to United. Come to United. Your destiny. You've done your job. You've ticked your boxes. Now,
Hey, listen,
destiny.
he's still in the Prem. That cost is going to be a bit higher now.
Huh?
The cost is going to be a bit higher now. He's staying in
Yeah,
the Prem.
stay up in the Prem, bruv. You man are going to have to pay that 70 mil premium now.
Aston Villa are going to give Jack Grealish the blessing to leave. Remember, I told you guys already.
But that
They're
doesn't
going to
mean
give
that
him
he's
the
not gonna
blessing to
leave
leave.
as well. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, no. He's going to leave, but it won't be cheap.
But if it's not, you know, 70, 80 million that people are trying to suggest, trust me. That's all I
What's it
got to
gonna be?
say, mate. Say,
Cool.
I don't need to tell you guys figures.
Come on, man. You're our inside source, bro.
Before we go,
On the ground.
Fuad, are you ready? Yeah. Cam, we need you to speak to your father and relinquish him of the KDB title as of tonight.
Break the record.
We need. Huh?
He break the record.
No, he equaled it
Bro,
still.
he tied it. You equaled
Oh,
greatness. You know when you're the
He equaled
greatest,
it.
a man come neck and neck with you. Greatness. That's what you call greatness.
Did he break it? Did he break it?
Brother,
We need you to tell your father to relinquish the
20
KDB
assists
title.
Just
in a season. 13 goals. 33 goal contributions in 35 games. And you still don't want to...
He passed the 300
relinquish
the
thing.
Wait, let me check it. Let me.
Relinquish the
He was
thing.
on 295 before the game.
What's that?
He was on 295 crosses before the game. I want to see if he passed the 300 mark.
Let me check it.
What, the record? Brother, add it. Another record.
Yeah, no, he
Greatness
passed
only.
it. 304.
Greatness only. I told you, man. Yeah? What's the hardest pass to play on the pitch? A cross. Yeah? The greatest.
You're pagan.
Yeah?
A man said that he passed 300 crosses.
Brother, you man, agenda.
That's poor. That's poor. Can you give him props for his performance? His performance is playing Norwich. But
brother, did you see the footwork for that first goal? It was CR. Do you remember CR7 and Justin Hoyt on the flanks? It was reminiscent of that.
Fuad.
Man said, top bins, here you go.
Fuad.
Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
It was a great goal, but you can't say that the CR7 Justin Hoyt thing. I said the footwork was crazy.
Was magnificent.
But he was doing that.
No one he's a good player. He's a good player.
They just say he's a cross merchant, but they're not acknowledging the footwork.
No. 304 crosses in 30 something games. Yeah,
footwork.
From he was trying to cross it. He was trying to cross it. It went top bin.
You're an idiot.
Hey, you're a clown. I end this. I'm sick of looking in the sky. I swear.
Listen,
oh, shit.
I feel that's the end, man. Listen, there's still some things coming up. Europa League coming up, Champions League coming up. Mbappe may be out for that game with that injury.
All right, what's your predictions for the FA Cup?
FA Cup are winning.
Predictions for FA and Euro. Let me know.
Chelsea are winning, man. I already said it.
Scoreline, Mr. Confident. Come on.
I'll go 3-1.
Okay. You trust that defense, yeah?
I'll go 3-1. Well, clearly not. We'll concede
Europa League, what are you saying?
There's more games. You can't really predict that one.
Romelu,
listen. Romelu, 29 goals. Address it. 29 goals. Address it.
Listen, do United fans want to address it? Huh?
Without Lukaku, you finished third. What's he doing in Italy?
You're shameless.
Brother.
You have no shit.
Let me check something.
Do you know how many times I've heard this season the sentence Lukaku and Ronaldo together? It's like every record Ronaldo had as a debut into season, Lukaku's gone and achieved it.
No, but did you hear
what? The man is credit, man. You man have been shitting. United fans have been shitting on Lukaku ever since he left. Like the man has, I think he's hit his highest tally this season.
29
ever in a single season. Yeah, like just leave him alone. That's all I'm saying, United fans. He's in another country. He's doing well for himself. You're still third, doing your thing. Cool. You got Tony Martial. Let's hope it carries on next season. But let a man live.
You sounded
He's
a bit
doing
bitter
bits
there,
abroad. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, just want to hate
Fuad's
on a man for
still-
no
Fuad's still
reason.
angry
But
about
like
that,
United
at
fans,
Martial.
United fans are like scorned. I clock. If you leave United, they're scorned. Jose,
Yeah,
they hate him forever.
Yeah.
What's it like? If you leave United, good luck. They don't like you.
Nah.
You man are bitter.
No. We're very
Exes.
respectful. We love
You
our
ain't
well for us.
disrespectful. I'll do well for you.
Inter
did well for you.
have drawn. Can you listen to me? Inter have drawn 10 league games this season. If only they had a striker that could have made a difference in them 10.
Again. Why is that not an indictment on the coach?
I ain't gotta say nothing. I just read out a stat. That's all I did.
I'm sick of you, man. I'm sick of you. Listen,
All I'm gonna say
Lukaku, well
is,
done,
yeah,
mate.
all
We
I'm gonna say
appreciate
is,
you over here.
Man, them said they can get peace for Lucas. Listen,
Hey,
I'm tired, bro.
You saying? How much you reckon we could get for Lucas Moura? What? Genuinely, 6.5?
6.5.
Fuck off, man. You're not taking this. Hey, listen. Let us know in the comments how much you think Spurs could get Lucas Moura for. That's our question of the week.
Hey, what's the other team? Was it old New Boys? That the
Newell's old boys.
one's dead, bro.
They're Argentina, innit?
Yeah, them man will pay you in installments as well. They'll give you like 2.6 up front.
Listen, man.
Listen, man, that's another episode. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're hitting up all of the socials. We're going to do some more stuff as well. And yeah, just keep following the personals as well.
Hey, season's over, bruv.
But yeah, it's not over. Well, the regular season's over. But
my season's
some
over.
NBA team. Fuad and Cam might do some NBA.
You ain't ready for that. You fun with that NBA last week. Man said James Milner, LeBron James. I don't want to talk basketball with you no more.
Hey, Oladipo in it. That's my guy still. That's my guy.
That's your entry point, yeah.
That's my entry. Hey, you man. That's another man. We're out in a bit.
Hey, for real. Bless, man. Easy.